Out with this game anyway. What are we waiting on?
We're waiting for FlyingZergling. FlyingZergling is late at the moment,
Yeah.
so I'm messaging Eugin right now. He says he mentioned he might have some problems, so maybe a small delay. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like just being talked about as like being like the best, right? Like that's why it's really cool to get into L5R really early. You like if you have like if you like to be a competitive player and you do well, like it's cool. Like 2 years down the road, it's like Kingsley's been here from the beginning, and he's the top. He's been at the top of the Dragon Clan for this whole time. Like it's a really cool thing to like have happen to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be tight.
Like you were really good at Conquest, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So like, what were your achievements in Conquest?
I only went to Worlds once, but I came in second. Went there,
That's
and
pretty
I
sweet.
wrote like a bunch of articles that were considered really fundamental. And I did quite well in various online thing. I don't think I'm like super dominantly the best, but I think I was like
For a small period, you think you were one of the best?
I think there was a period where I probably was the best player, but it's hard to assess because due to like work events and various other things, I ended up not actually going to Worlds after that first year.
Oh, gotcha. So it's like it's tough where you were a very good player, you just you didn't really have a stage to kind of
Yeah, there just
showcase
aren't
it.
really that many like events. Oh yeah, and I had like so then I like won a regionals and I won multiple store championships and a bunch of stuff. But store championships aren't anything.
Yeah, that's like equivalent to a PvTQ. Like a qualifier event for Magic.
Are qualifier events in Magic not anything?
I mean, yes and no. Like so, like locally. So before there used to be what are called PTQs, which were Pro Tour qualifiers, and basically if you won that event, you would qualify for the Pro Tour. This is how basically non-established players could get on the Pro Tour. It was one of the avenues, and so they used to be really huge. Like they used to be like every time a PTQ was there, it'd be like you'd have to win like a 100 person plus tournament
Got it.
to qualify for the Pro Tour. So it was like start at 10 a.m. and like finish at 8 p.m. if you won. Like I won one PTQ in my entire PTQ career, and I must have gone to maybe like 80. I've top 8'd like quite a few, but I've only ever won one. So like that's how hard it is. And
Interesting.
and so they changed that system to do what are called PPTQs, which are basically like so you have to top 8 this, you have to win this tournament to then qualify for another tournament to potentially qualify for the Pro Tour. So it really sucks. It's definitely a lot harder to win to qualify for the Pro Tour that way. I think the easiest way to qualify for the Pro Tour now is to do well at a Grand Prix. So
Okay.
if you finish X2 or better at a Grand Prix, you automatically qualify for the Pro Tour.
That sounds high.
And so in August, I finished X3 at Grand Prix Indianapolis, and I just barely missed qualifying for the Pro Tour.
Yes, that's like so close and yet
Yeah,
so
I
far
was I
away.
was really, and then I also lost my win in I had to win one last match in my RPTQ, and I would have qualified also, and I lost that one.
Nasty.
That one was I felt a lot more bitter about that one because it was already a bad matchup, and my opponent kept a really shady hand, and all I needed to do was draw gas, but I flooded just so hard. But
Mana flood.
that's the swings. I mean, I drew well. I drew well, in all my previous matches, so it had to happen.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Nick wants us to discuss the list. All right, so Zergling is here. They're gonna make the game right now. So while they're doing that, let's talk about these lists.
Are we live?
We're live. I mean, I'm just talking about nothing. So we're
That
talking to Nix and Joe basically. All right, so Nix wants me to discuss this crane list, and I don't know what he wants me to say other than the fact that there are 3 contingency plans in here, and I don't think that's correct. That's what I'm gonna say on it. He doesn't have nine conflict characters though. He has 3. Oh wait, these are ambushers, not skirmishers. Huh. Do you think maybe that was a mistake? No, I guess it fits his influence. Yeah, he,
Ambusher. So yeah, I have definitely put Ambusher in my deck because I misclicked it and was going for Skirmisher before. But Ambusher isn't that bad.
it's not that bad. It's just I'm just used to seeing Skirmisher. It's definitely not a misclick though because his influence is exactly a 10.
Yeah.
So we have 3 ambushers, a stoic gunso, 3 steward of laws, 2 political rivals as conflict characters, and then we have 3 reprieves, 3 pathfinder's blades, and 2 ornate fans, so no katanas, 1 noble sack. Wait, he's only playing 2 court games in Crane. That seems. I also don't agree with that. And then he has double censure, so he has 5 cancels.
Okay.
Still has bonsai. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe remove a contingency plan so you can add a court games. Just a suggestion. And then so
Maybe instead of putting dubious cards in the deck, you should put some of the best cards. I don't know.
well, court.
So that
So statistically, court games was in like prior to this season and every other season, it was in 100% of the decks in 100% of the slots. Like everyone was playing 3.
yeah. So I will also say I think in one thing that maybe not all that great at Conquest in some respects was I think that I was like one of the champions of basically conventional play. And I was like really good at the basic conventional game plan, but I was not really someone who was super outside the box in that game.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that, but I do think that that means that like there are probably
I
other
typed the
people who
password
might
here.
think of more interesting decks and come up with stuff that would be more of a surprise, which can be valuable, especially when you're in a game where the tournament format is best of one.
That's fair. I do think that having tech or like having like I don't know catching people by surprise is highly overrated.
Hmm.
But I also play a game that where you have a sideboard, so it's harder to catch someone off guard multiple times in a row.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Magic format is definitely not best of one. If only we had the same.
All
Okay,
right,
let's see
so
here.
I've typed you the password. The game is up right now. It looks like the players
Yeah,
are going to
I'm
be starting.
shifting
I didn't really
over
talk
to
about
it.
Eujin's list. It's almost identical to. It actually is identical to the list he's been running. So it's traditional Dragon Splash. He's on 3 display of powers. I personally don't agree with that, and I know a lot of other Phoenix players don't, but it works for him.
You
He's
say
on.
3 display of powers?
Yeah,
Nice.
he's
I
on.
don't like that at all.
I don't either, but he's said multiple times that it works for him. And look, if I'm not
If it
gonna
works.
disagree. He did just get Phoenix Hatamoto at Cork, so he went undefeated.
Hey, kudos to him.
And so he's still on Kaede and Sukune. He's not playing Keeper of Jisei Toshi or lower glory characters, but that does combo well with the charges that he's playing. And in this matchup, those characters are pretty good, especially when your opponent only has 2 court games, so they can't be dishonored as easily.
Yeah, I think we're seeing basically a kind of, this deck is maybe slightly old-fashioned in some respects. It does have also one surprise that he's not playing the Imperial Palace, but maybe he figures he just doesn't need it with his stronghold out there.
Yeah, I know Travis and other Phoenix players have said multiple times that the Imperial Palace isn't necessary. But these other Phoenix players do run Mia Satoshi to tutor up Conjo District and put keepers in their graveyard.
Yeah, I think there's an argument for playing Mia Satoshi in almost all clans at this phase. I think he's incredibly strong.
Oh, see, he's not playing Haughty Magistrate.
Oh wow, that's a
Which I
surprise.
which I think is incorrect because I think that card is just oppressive, and the fact that it actually has very few answers. Like Cloud the Mind and it being dishonored are the answers to it.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it
and
definitely is more relevant in some matchups than others, but it's still a great card.
and if you're a clan that is fortunate enough to have a clan champion that has 3 glory,
Yeah.
but like Crab Scorpion cannot actually do anything to it without cards, like they can't block.
Kachiko. Kachiko's 3 glory, but aside from
Oh,
that,
that's true. Yeah. Okay. So Kachiko can.
is Taka 3 glory? Maybe he's 2
No,
glory.
he's 2.
Really bad anyway though. So.
No, I think Taka is gonna be the future.
Oh yeah.
So I've been testing. And we've been talking in Crab Chat about Taka decks. So basically, if Crab gets Seeker in this next list, I think it's better to go aggressive Taka lists and use Seeker Fate, and then you can play really expensive cards like out of nowhere. Like
Huh.
I was doing Scorpion Splash, and with like Taka Fate, I could pretty easily buy out a board and still play Fate Worse Than Death in the same turn. But I mean,
All right, man. That sounds pretty sweet. So maybe
Taka
that'll
also
be the
breaks the
future.
crab mirror.
Yeah, he's insane in the mirror because he applies to your opponent's crab characters as well. I don't know why they did that. It honestly is like an oversight.
Yeah, Taka and Karada District are like the two most important cards in the crab mirror.
Yeah, which is kind of horrible, but that's the way it goes
Yeah, if
sometimes.
one person gets Karada District and the other person doesn't, it's actually just impossible. It's like so impossible for that person to win until they see their own Karada District. Alright, so we see Mia Mystic. Interesting that he's playing Mia Mystic when he's also splashing Dragon. He just must really hate attachments. Alright, so probably just gonna see Prodigy from Eujin and do a pass. Pretty standard Phoenix play. He does have a library too. Library's pretty sweet.
Library is one of the cards that I much want to see when I'm Phoenix.
So we see Prodigy. He's probably gonna pass, and then we see Cautious Scout from Zergling. So Eujin does pass, and then we see Doji Rep is really sweet. So this could be a setup for a display of power. So if FlyingZergling can wave the crane his Doji Rep, I would do that.
Yeah, the Doji Rep is a really nice card to have in general.
Can contingency plan? Can you make your bid negative?
No, it says minimum 0.
Oh, okay. I was like, can you just like bid 1 and then make it negative 2?
We're seeing a Pathfinder's Blade come out here.
Are we gonna see a Let Go from Eujin?
It's a little surprising to play Pathfinder's Blade when he already has Cautious Scout on the board.
I think he wants to attack with the rep to scout and then pull home if it's something that he doesn't want to.
That's fair.
Like if Eujin, well, attacking with rep first is really risky into Miyamoto's Fury. Like these Moto Juro and Doji Rep get really destroyed by he hits before the throne. Yeah, Doji Rep and Moto Juro get crushed by Fury, like first action Fury.
A lot of things get crushed by Fury.
Sure, but like these characters are like
either.
characters that have these cool abilities, and then like they just get neutered by the card also.
Yeah, that's fair.
Neaton Master doesn't get crushed by Fury. Just saying.
Yeah, it's like kind of bad for him, but he's like, you you maybe use your weapon a little earlier than you wanted to.
Well, you have the option, right? Like you have the option to do so. Same thing with Witch Hunter.
Yup.
All right, so there's the Fury. Not surprised. So he waved the cranes now. So can you display of power this?
No, you have to actually lose, I believe.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Before the throne.
Yeah, Eujin likes that one.
I don't.
I also don't. He's playing Before the Throne, Public Forum, Meditations, Shameful, and then he's Along the River of Gold on his Stronghold. I would much prefer Manicure Garden in Phoenix, especially with all the high cost characters he's running. I think it's and display of powers. I definitely want as much fate as I can get.
Yep.
Let's see. Looks like Crane Row is Fertile Fields, Manicured, Meditations, Shameful with Rally on box. Alright, so he runs in a Manicured. Pretty good for Zergling. I think that or Shameful are the two best ones for him, obviously. This gives him 2 Fate, and so we'll see what happens. Just so FlyingZergling did play one of his court games actually, so he only has 1 left.
This is so weird. The other problem with not attacking with Cautious Scout is it means this Water Ring is quite relevant.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow, now he has Voice of Honor to cancel court games. Shame that he didn't preemptively...
Oh no,
but you said that he used court games instead of Way of the Crane to honor him.
Yeah, he didn't have Way of the Crane, or I think he would have done a pre-conflict.
That's fair.
What can Zergling do here to stop this conflict from winning? Because even if Eujin doesn't break here, he's going to Water Ring the Cautious Scout, use Prodigy to ready, and then probably do a Fire Ring, if I had to guess.
I think he's in quite a bad spot there.
Fighting Walloon. Yeah, Eugin did beat me last season in my group game. Um, he saw 3 Furies and 3 Light Goes, in like the top like 15 cards of his deck. So it was a pretty rough game for me actually.
Those are some pretty good cards.
Yeah, this cup I'm actually a wild card participant.
Interesting.
I went 5-2 in my group, and sadly that was not good enough to auto qualify. So Stoic Gunso here can sacrifice this Cautious Scout and threaten a break here. So Eugene does defend, so we're not gonna see. Luke's asking, what do you think about? I think the risk of running into Shameful is too high.
Shameful is a big deal.
Yeah, I think if you run into Shameful, it could actually just lose you the game because of like getting this. If this Prodigy gets honored, like it's just so hard to deal with. Oh, this is 6. So we see a charge on a Sako Diplomat. So this means that if Eugene does end up winning this conflict, he will be able to honor his Prodigy of Waves.
Okay.
And if the Prodigy of the Waves gets honored, it turns off Voice of Honor too.
Oh, interesting point.
Luke says this is a mini Shameful. So both players are really emptying out their hand. We got 4 to 5 cards right now. Zergling's out of Fate, and then we see a For Shame on the Gunso.
I can't say this is what I was expecting.
And then we see another Katana plus Stronghold to bring Eugene to winning. So Zergling passes. Yeah, charging the Diplomat was pretty sick. It enabled For Shame too.
Eugene holds the line.
Fighting Walloon says, I love Kingsley's commentary, but poor guy sounds like he should be allowed to sleep. If you, I would say, if you're more than welcome to tag out if you want. I do have Nick's.
Oh no, I'm good, dude. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm just here. Let me sit up.
Yeah, I get that, right? Where you just start leaning back.
I think yeah. This is a I think this is quite a good turn for the Phoenix player, really.
Yeah, he even had with the conflict character, definitely.
Oh, and here's the OP Shrine Maiden giving 2 free draws.
Wait, he hit 2 spells. How lucky!
He got Cloud and Against the Waves. So
from what I remember, Eugene's list doesn't have that many spells. 3.
Dude, people are sleeping on Shrine Maiden. 1 cost 1/1 conflict character already good, and it potentially drops.
No, the list that I've seen have all been playing it.
Yeah, I think
3, 6, 9. He's running 9 spells, so so say you draw 5 on turn 1, and yeah, you have a pretty good shot at hitting a spell, and you're you have a pretty good shot at hitting at least 1.
I continue to think that Shrine Maiden will actually be considered OP later on.
What are keyhos? Are you familiar with what that term is?
The only ones that are in the game right now are Mantra of Fire and Water.
Oh, the mantras are keyhos. Okay. So like if monks become like a real theme, you could definitely see the pretty. Luke being savage says Keyhor the shitty dragon mantras. Come on, man. If monks become really popular, like Dragon Phoenix could as obviously the just like traditional splash, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You just splash for Shrine Maiden Against the Waves and like maybe a display of power.
Yeah, we might even see Dragon with Supporter of the Phoenix, the new role that's coming up.
Oh yeah, so do you remember what that actually does? I heard about it.
I think it's +8 influence. It's like plus some large number of influence.
Oh wow, okay, but then you lose the ability to play keeper/seeker only cards and elemental
that's
cards, right?
And you don't get any free money.
All right. I mean, if those are just like a half and half deck works out, like that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So Eugene just immediately drops the bid. He's like, "All right, I'm done. I don't need any more cards." The Shrine Maiden cashed in for 2 cards. I got cards now. Probably gonna see Cloud the Mind on this Guest of Honor or on the rep. And Flying Zergling having no attachment control has no way to get it off. Zergling's at 3 honor, by the way. So we see Censure canceling Way of the Crane. Wow.
Censure on Way of the Crane. That's nasty.
Yeah, Luke says Crane doesn't want to be choked on honor yet, and I have to agree. Crane is down to 3 honor. And we're going to see a big military attack here from the Prodigy. This thing is a monster. Are we watching a Phoenix game or a Dragon game?
Yeah, some people have at times talked about the... Some people have at times talked about how the Prodigy of the Waves can in some respects be considered the lesser E10 master.
I mean, we're seeing a great example of it here. We have a 9 strength character that can unbow itself. Joe from Cincinnati says this game could go faster than we expect. Haha, we're watching a funeral.
Ouch. It does. These prodigies are quite powerful, but this is also early on in the game, and L5R is a game that's very comeback friendly in my view.
So he just doesn't defend, and he goes down to 2 honor. The rep gets voided. So now Before the Throne is just like not attackable in my opinion, because even if you think Pathfinder's Blade will stop something, if he has a let go, you just lose. Which makes that library pretty sick sitting on top of it.
How is Crane so down? How is Crane so down on honor with equal cards?
So they took 2 unopposed. They took 2 unopposed last turn. And
oh yeah, unopposed challenges. Yep.
So it's 2 unopposed challenges, and they then lost 4. Yeah. It's
well, I can't say that's where you want to be. Is the Crane
and then we
player
see an Against the Waves on the Prodigy. So now this thing is just here, and then he can send in for he can defend with the not honored one, and then go for a water conflict with the honored one again, and then use the action.
Yeah, it's not looking great for the Crane player. It's looking pretty great if you're rooting for Scorpion. Against the Waves comes out, yep.
Yeah, Joe points out this is symptomatic of a lot of playstyles. How did he bid 5 but still only have 7 cards? Well, he technically had 8 cards. He played the Way of the Crane in draw step, so but it got countered. So he did go to up. He went up to 8 cards, but that's still not a lot after bidding 5 and 5. So
not in the least.
We see a huge attack here into Public Forum. One cool thing is that Pathfinder's Blade against Public Forum is pretty sweet.
Pathfinder's Blade, yeah, that's not bad. I mean, what are his best uses for Pathfinder's Blade in this situation? So
it's to cancel Shameful Display. Well, it's because Eugin is playing Before the Throne, it's actually got 3 uses: Shameful Display, Public Forum, and Before the Throne. Although it's like medium on Public Forum. Like you don't even necessarily need to break it all the time.
It's super risky on Before the Throne because he goes for Before the Throne break with a Pathfinder's Blade to protect him, and it gets let go. That's actually just game over.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that's what it's for in the match.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Okay, so we could
see like a hype charged Mia Mystic play too, and to remove Pathfinder's Blade.
Oh, how tight would that?
That'd be so cool. Mia Mystic.
Wait, where's the Mia Mystic?
No, it's in his graveyard right now, but he's playing 3.
Oh yeah.
So like we could definitely see that down the line. That'd be pretty sweet. Okay, so what just happened? Oh, Noble Sack. Wow. So he Noble Sacks the other one. And does Eugin have another conflict character here? He passes. This actually is pretty good.
Yeah.
So if
kudos to FlyingZergling.
Okay, so FlyingZergling has a conflict character. You go air. You air at Public Forum, or you can go scouting, I guess. No, this is so risky. This is so risky for Display of Power. Right, like you don't actually have to break for Display of Power to go off. Like it only ever gets played when I'm breaking, so I don't know. What do you actually?
Yeah, you could get hit by display of power here.
Okay,
Wait, no, he doesn't. He only. Oh no, he spent one for
he spent the
Miyamoto.
Mirror Sphere, so it looks like he doesn't have it. But if he did have it, could he just could he have played it there?
Yes, he could have.
Okay.
And actually, we were maybe making a little bit of fun out of those three copies of Display of Power, but right now they're really good. The air ring becomes highly risky for Flying Zergling. Potential negative impacts are pretty significant.
So we see two copies of Kakita Yoshi and a Doji Shizoe, which are normally pretty sweet, but against Phoenix, it's so hard to get favor if they don't want you to have it.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely a frequent problem.
That's why I was playing some games against Phoenix earlier, and they got like early Conjuro District going, and it just creates this really dumb mini game where I just never want to attack. Like I had to stand my Neaton Master to just for glory and stuff. Like it was really annoying. Luke's pointing out that display of power is better when there are no throwaway rings. So when honor and dishonor is in play, I have to agree. And then the water ring might be considered a throwaway ring, but for Phoenix it's not, because if you display a power, you can get keepers, and then you can also turn on your water ring matters cards. So we see Meddling Mediator, another annoying card for Phoenix or for the Crane player here because he's so low in honor.
Yeah, wow. Meddling Mediator, I think, is also another card that I consider very strong and somewhat underrated.
Yeah, I agree. I think Meddling Mediator is actually really insane.
Then again, I play Dragon, but let's be real, most decks are trying to make two conflicts.
Yeah, I mean, I still make two conflicts into the Meddling Mediator. It just doesn't feel good.
Oh yeah, what I meant was that Dragon is unusually likely to have multiple conflicts, but there's no deck that's oh, I don't know. I guess there's a waning.
Crab
If it's a waning hostilities deck, it's
Oh, that'd be sick. I think Waning Hostilities is actually really good. I know Bill was trying it out really well in Lion, and I think it fits really well to the Lion's game plan of just making their one big military attack per turn.
Yeah, that was kind of my view, but I think there's a somewhat open question as to what extent it will actually prove to be a really strong combination or a really strong deck concept.
So Flying Zergling asks, no potato kune, and Eujin says no for now. So we could this could signify a charge Sukune, because he doesn't have to worry about Noble Stack anymore. Crane has only has one and has played it already. So Zergling passes his first conflict opportunity. We're gonna see another huge military attack here. Having uncovered Shameful, he's gonna run into Meditations is what he wants to hit, because it doesn't do anything to the Prodigy. Fertile Fields would give the Crane player a Fate and a card. He does hit Meditations.
Nice. Well, nice for him.
Yeah.
Man, Crane is in trouble.
So contesting the Earth Ring, trying to hammer home this card advantage. So if the bids stay at 1, Phoenix just pulls way far ahead because they're drawing 2 cards a turn.
Yep. This is really the situation where the what's it called? Forgotten Library shines.
Oh, yep. Also, okay, so this card's Voice of Honor at random, and now he can't attack either because the Scholar is online. Luke says, can Crane do anything this turn if Phoenix gets Earth? And then Nyx immediately hits him with Crane can concede.
Brutal. I mean, true, but brutal.
Jeez. Alright, so so you just can't attack here if you're Crane, right? You just have to stand. You have to attack
Yeah.
you have to attack with both of your characters if you're going to attack.
And then you're gonna get destroyed by unopposed.
Yeah.
So, yep, you just gotta stand there.
It's really this stupid Solemn Scholar is just one of those cards that's so innocuous, but when they get the Earth Ring and they just you read this card, you're like, this card's insane.
Yeah, I don't think Solemn Scholar is that good normally. I think it was I don't have any special insight into the process. I could easily be wrong, but I think it was designed under the assumption that what's it called would actually be good.
Oh, Know the World?
Yeah, that's right.
I think I think Solemn Scholar is fine, right? Like it's like Mendicant. It's a 1 mana 1/1 that has a good trait, and also has a sometimes relevant ability, right?
Yeah, that's fair. The trait factor is significant.
Yeah. So Mendicant trait obviously isn't as strong now, but I mean, Monk and Shugenja could both, or Shugenja is a strong trait right now, and then Monk could be a strong trait. But that's what I look at this card akin to.
Yeah, I can see that.
Joe says no, the world was playable in core. Problem is cards kept like coming out and shit. Luke, I don't know a single Phoenix player that is playing Benton and such anymore. So we see Crane
Are
Box.
you joking me, dude? I think, dude, I'm still playing Benton's Touch.
Every single Phoenix player I've talked to has not played Benton, has stopped playing Benton and such.
I only have it as
or
a
they play
2x,
one.
but I think you still want it.
Yeah, like Eujin's not on any. Like all the Phoenix players I see are on 0, and I sometimes see 1.
Huh. Well, they're probably better than me at Phoenix, so...
Yeah, I don't actually
them
touch
and not
Phoenix.
me.
I actually hate playing Phoenix. I think the clan is just incredibly clunky, and I don't like playing them.
Yep. No doubt. When I play Phoenix, I feel like I'm just playing a jankier dragon. I'm like, oh, I could just
Yeah,
play
I could see
dragon.
that. I think Phoenix does have the tools for a cool dishonor strategy though, with Forgotten Library. So we see.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool deck. You can put the backhanded compliment in there as well. Let's see here. This is
So
pretty
Satoshi
boring.
gets activated. I think he was looking for the palace maybe, but Eujin does end up getting favor. Sukune is still there. I think he might buy Sukune this turn, now that he has a lot of fate. So the
Yeah,
Yoshis get ditched because he's just never gonna get favor. And we see.
And I do think
Oh.
Sukune locked down the game here because
Yeah, so
I
you
think-
buy Sukune and Suki. So you buy Suki 1 fate, discard the dupe to get her up to 2, and that's such a strong board.
I think Eugene can just sit here and not do any attacks and then just win the game with Sukune.
No, because then Crane will do an air conflict.
Oh, right. He can use his Guest of Honor on the offensive block display of power. Yeah, that's a...
Let's see. If I'm Eugene, or if I'm Eugene here, I just attack. You can attack
Do you
water.
go for that
Oh,
Troll Earth?
contingency plan. He gains an honor this way.
Wow, FlyingZergling's goofy contingency plan. Maybe
Might save
paying
him.
off.
Yeah, might save him.
But it also means that he's drawing 0 cards, so that's not exactly a hype. I hate contingency.
Fighting Walloon. I don't think it was like an outplay. It just so happens that like Phoenix's like so Zergling went for a really strong military attack on turn 1, and it just didn't. He didn't have enough cards, and so he just fell too far behind. And then the honor choke just like really hit him hard. Yeah, like this. Like imagine Joe if Phoenix runs into Shameful Display on turn 1 instead of something else, right? Like this game just looks way different.
Phoenix absolutely hates Shameful Display. It's like their number one opponent in a lot of situations.
Yep. And so we see him attacking Fertile Fields with Sukune on. Is it gonna be on political? I could see it being political, and then you could, you just bring along a friend, and then you court game Sukune, and then your opponent can't court games you back. But he decides not to. But he's doing military. Military water, so he's gonna be able to honor his Suki, and then bow the Guest of Honor. It's tough to say fighting Walloon. I think like a lot of hindsight in this game is just like really hard to go back and look. Only the players will know like what the better lines would have been, because like while I Kingsley and I guess at a lot of these lines, we don't have perfect information, right? Like we can't see their hands, and we can't just tell you what we think the best line is. We can only guess.
I mean, we could tell you, but
I mean, if I knew like everyone's hand from the beginning, I could say what I would do like for certain 100%, and maybe you know, maybe the players have a different way of thinking than I do, but I would just give my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nick's pointing out that debates and informants are casters' best friends.
Yeah, that's actually true. I was commenting to a friend earlier that, while we can't see players' hands, we often get to know them anyway thanks to the large number of reveal hand effects in this game at present. Which incidentally is a topic that has some people a little annoyed.
What?
The large number of reveal hand effects in the game.
Oh yeah. See, I think I was talking to. I think there was a discussion in strategy or something that there's too many or something, and I just pointed out that I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I come from a game where I've like Magic has so many 1-minute discard spells that players know each other's hands all the time. Like I don't know. The way I look at it is just because. Okay, so he's. Oh, this is sick. He ambushers and he prevents Suki from using her ability.
That's wow, yeah, I didn't
You don't get the reaction. That's sick.
I didn't even realize it worked that way, dude. I thought that it had to be an attacking character. Well, that's cool.
Nope. Ambusher.
Maybe putting Ambusher in instead of Skirmisher is a prudent plan after all.
Yeah, Ambusher is sick. Oh, that was so cool. Alright, cool. Alright, you know what? If nothing else, I saw a really cool interaction that I had not seen or thought of before. Back to my point about seeing hands, like, people complain about, like, being able to see your opponent's hand. That doesn't change the fact that your opponent has these cards. Like, if I see that my opponent has Fate Worse Than Death, cool. I mean, he still gets to play the card.
Yep.
FlyingZergling giving us some insight to why he has Ambusher. He says it's for LPB, Hero and Investigator. I mean, those are all very powerful cards, so... Yeah, exactly, Luke. Like even in Magic, like you draw one card per turn, right? If I play a discard spell against you on turn 1, I know your entire hand for the next like I know the relevant cards in your hand for a long time. The thing is, hands get depleted in Magic quite quickly because of lands. So like,
yep.
If you have 7 cards, but then you play a land and a spell every turn, your hand gets depleted really quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas in L5R, after you've seen someone's hand, they then see potentially up to 5 fresh new cards.
Magic is also fairly conservative with card draw effects.
Well,
no, they're not. Just kidding. Magic tries to be conservative with card draw effects and repeatedly fails at it.
I don't think so. I mean, just recently they printed another Draw X.
Oh yeah.
In 3 sets ago, they printed X blue instant draw X cards, discard a card.
Interesting.
So I mean, and then like I don't know, 5 years ago, there was one of the most notorious draw spells ever printed called Sphinx's Revelation, which is X white blue draw X cards, gain X life.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Sphinx's Revelation is sick. All right, so we see her for shame here, bowing me as Satoshi. Because he has favor, he's threatening a break with just his mediator. FlyingZergling passes. Wow, we're just gonna see another break.
Wow.
He has 10 fate. What is he doing?
Zergling is so far behind here. It's crazy.
Wait, and he didn't. The airing has gone unclaimed. Wait, he can just use Sakuni to do fire and air and win the game.
Yeah, I don't know.
This reprieve doesn't do anything. He is still.
Yeah, reprieve does nothing.
He got voided. He needs a second reprieve, and he needs usually not to have a let go. Oh,
boy, it's grim. Yeah, there's let go. He plays another reprieve.
Yeah, that doesn't stop the other guy.
Yeah, this is over. Boy, this was a brutal game.
Nick says drawing 5 cards in 2018. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Bayushi Manipulator? Alright, we have to make sure that Eujin sequences it correctly, and it looks like he does. And that's the game.
Wow, that
was a turn 4 dishonor? Wow. Move aside, yeah. Scorpion.
It didn't feel like a 4-turn game. Those were quick turns.
You know what? I think that's a nice change of pace.
How long was this broadcast?
We have been live for 15 minutes. We were talking for like 10 in the beginning, so maybe like 35 minutes.
Okay, that's longer than I would have put it at. Interesting.
I mean, it's still 4 turns, right? Like, there's like cards still got played. It's not the thing. The thing was like Heinzel and Click Five's game felt like it was so long, but it actually wasn't that many turns. I went back and watched. It just was that Click Five played very slow.
Interesting.
All right, so let's see. GG. Well, that's like turn one. Noble sack 1x, and then walk straight into Miyamoto's Fury. Yep. That is the problem.
Oh yeah, so FlyingZergling said that he had a noble sacrifice in his opener, and he was working out some plan to use it to kill that prodigy of the waves, but it didn't turn out.
Luke, I'm not. I didn't. I'm not saying that Flying Zergling played poorly. I like sometimes you just don't have it, right? Like last season against Micah, I like dishonored myself on turn 3 because I'm stupid. Like I'm not. I didn't say anything about any player's skill. Like I think the whole like I'm not here to baby people. I'm just gonna give you my opinion on how I think the game went. I just think the game went poorly for Flying Zergling. That's all. Like I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he necessarily played the game too poorly. It just so happened that the way Eugene played the game was really strong against what Zergling was trying to do.
Yeah, the we're seeing some more commentary here. Zergling said it was so bad he already knows what he should have done differently. Pre-conflict way of the crate, the scout. Court games dishonor. Wow, so he did have Way of the Crane and he didn't play it on the first turn?
Interesting.
That is a pretty terrible mistake.
See that's fine though, right? Like, so this is the type of 20 of hindsight that I like when a player knows what they've already done incorrectly, and so like next time Flying Zergling plays the game, is he'll play better, right? Like that's good. When someone can like just look at their game,
Yeah.
like look at their game immediately and just know what they could do better. That shows me that you're a strong player. When you immediately identify your mistake and you're already like, what I can do better, and I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important when you lose games to take a look at what happened and think about how to do better in the future. I think it's especially good when these games are recorded because, like, I often go back and watch the VODs of games that I've played that are streamed, even games that I've won, because you learn about your mistakes and where other people would have acted differently, and you start trying to figure out different circumstances.
Yeah, it's like maybe this was a better line.
Yeah.
Luke says there's only shame in losing to players like Joe, and I can't agree more. Tenorum agrees, so I think the majority is in. If you losing to Joe, hashtag feels bad, man. Joe says losing to me is a disgrace.
Wow. We got
Harsh.
some salt, dude. Well, I guess that's not salt. I guess that's joking around.
Yeah,
Actually, people have been pretty sportsmanlike in this event. You know, there were a few cases of debatably we had some kind of BM behavior, but there was nothing too egregious.
Yeah, I think a lot of the chat slash BM is actually people not taking into account that it could be BM. Like I had Oryx watched the VOD the other day, and he just messaged me about it, just on the topic of BM, and he said that he didn't think he was being BM, and I just pointed out how it could be perceived that way. And after thinking about it for a sec, he agreed with me, and he said that he'll save it for like after the game. Like basically, like I think like conversations like this is good. So these players didn't say anything in the game, and after the game they're both just talking about like the lines and like strategy and all that stuff. Like I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, I personally like my dream scenario would be to go, you know, maybe go to a tournament and you play against someone who has a rebel army that has like cool looking conversions and so on.
Let's see. Nice uses of ambusher. At least you didn't attack the province of the Sami. Too little, too late. Oh yeah, he's saying he didn't want his cautious scout to get clouded into display of power.
Yeah.
And he's saying Asami would just have gotten clouded. Yeah, Cloud Domine's pretty insane.
Oh hey, we're getting a call here. We're getting a call here from Nix for interviewing Eujin.
Oh sure.
He wants us to interview Eugene so that Nix will know how to destroy him next round. So, interesting. Yeah, Eugene wisely points out also that the library gave him a great advantage. I think there's no doubt that that's the case.
Yeah, the library was sick there.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Eugene?
No, he's not here yet. It's still
No.
ringing.
Okay. I heard the noise, but it was a different noise than the one I thought.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, Eugene?
All right.
Congratulations on your victory. You had a very strong performance in that game.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I had a very good round one, and that was decisive.
Yeah, and it looks like the crane player here already knew what he could have tried to play that turn differently.
Yeah, definitely. That noble sacrifice, man.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was rough.
It made the game a little bit closer than maybe it even could have. Like you probably could have won a turn earlier if you had double prodigy going in.
Yeah, yeah, probably. It was. I mean, the double prodigy thing was quite an interesting situation because the ring of water was never really useful as the first ring. So I tried to juggle with having them with having them giving me two attacks, but it was very difficult to plan for that. And when that noble sack came, I was like, oh wow, well,
Yeah, well now you don't have to plan anymore, right?
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Um,
so
Yep.
Nasty.
you're still on 3 display of power, and you don't play Supernatural Storm. I know you talked about it sometimes, but like, do you want to just kind of talk about that again? Why you like to do that instead? Like, I know a lot of other Phoenix players are still on like one display of power.
Yeah. Well, the fact with Supernatural Storm is that I think it is quite routinely giving +2/+2, which is not bad, I mean, but it's not great either. It's just a small buff. And the problem with temporary small buffs is that when your character gets bowed or sent home or whatever, it just stings. It's very bad, especially against Scorpion, who can just make you overcommit into a conflict and then just, I don't know, bow you, dishonor you, and
Yeah.
so you lose the conflict anyway, and you don't get nothing out of it, and
And
it
then
feels
you
really
just
bad.
committed a bunch of temporary cards, and then they play like 1 or 2 cards to stop your 3 or 4.
Yes, exactly.
That
That's my main fear. I mean, it's not.
no, that's reasonable. I was just wondering what the thought behind it was. I was telling Kingsley that I don't play Phoenix because I don't like their playstyle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think it
You're
certainly
also
worked out well here.
you're also
Forgotten
on 3
Library
Mia
was just
Mystic
amazing. Forgotten Library just dominant in this game.
for sure.
Yeah,
It lets you
definitely.
just turn the dishonor pressure real quick.
Yeah.
You're on 3 Mia Mystic in your dynasty also, and you
Oh.
still are
Mhm.
playing you're playing 6 5 drops, which I know not everyone, a lot of other Phoenix players like Soto and Travis have been trying to cut down on Glory to
Mhm.
try and fight Scorpion.
Yeah. So, mind if I reply to the display of power thing
Yeah,
first?
go ahead, go ahead.
Because that's something that's asked me very often. So, I think display of power is a card that is surely situational. I'm not saying it's a card you can play every time, all the time. The point is that it's such a big threat that sometimes it swings games because if your opponent does not play around it, sometimes the ring effects are very powerful. In particular, I think for Phoenix, you have such high glory characters that fire is very important, void is very important because you try to build up set characters, and so you have two rings which are very important to both defend. And display of power just gives you that. Even if you lose the conflict massively, so a Miromoto's Fury won't help you, display of power still lets you retain board control. So you lose the province, but you retain board control. And I
Hmm.
think the difference in having a very strong ring triggered against you and triggering it yourself is very well worth to fate on one card. So
So the card obviously has diminishing returns. So that's my issue with it is that it has diminishing returns. So based on your reasoning, I personally would play 2, whereas you want to see like 2, I think maximum per game, right? So I guess the third one is not good, and you have Shrine Maidens that can tutor it, kind of.
mhm.
So there's that, and then also, are you not afraid of say counter spells like Edict or Voice of Honor?
Well, the problem with counter spells is that they're surely very powerful. And for example, the matchup against Scorpion is of course very difficult if they also play Censures.
Oh yeah,
Because
sure.
if they get the counter advantage, is really bad. However, I don't think it's something that's necessarily that bad for this deck because I also have against the waves, which is a very powerful event that I
Yeah.
want to resolve. And I also have assassination. I have two assassinations. So, I mean, if they run just three forged edicts and they counter display of power, sometimes I mean it's just as bad as having an against the waves cancelled. It's sure it's one additional fate, but that's not the deal breaker. I mean, I prefer to have more threats rather than tone down the strength of my deck just to avoid some counters that will probably come regardless
That
because Scorpion draws a lot anyway. So
that's reasonable.
Scorpion definitely does draw a lot.
My
yeah.
last question on your deck choice basically is I just was wondering, have you tried Mia Satoshi? I think he's really sick in. Oh, so you're not playing Haughty Magistrate either. So I guess this is like a two-part question. You're not playing Haughty Magistrate, and in turn, Mia Satoshi is not that great in your deck. But have you tried that?
Okay, so and the Mia Mystics. Well, so
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
options.
So like you talked to me about your Dynasty deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, Mia Satoshi and okay, Oath Magistrate, I think it's not that big of a deal because for sure it's very strong against Scrabby. They basically have no counterplay, so I'm not saying it's not good against Scrabby. It certainly is. The problem is that in most other matchups, it's not really that good because you spend three fate, and of course you want additional fate to have it stick around because there's no point in just not fating it up, right?
Yeah.
And then you also have to invest the stronghold into it quite often. On top of that, you can't usually participate with other characters. So if that single character gets controlled, that is a very very big swing. For example, against Scorpion, it's quite a bad card in my opinion
Oh yeah,
because
I think in
there's
Scorpion it's
about
just like not playable, right? Because they can dishonor it if you stronghold it, and then also they can
Mhm.
just defend it and like for shame it.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. So my reasoning is, in which matchups is this card really strong? It's Crab for sure. Maybe.
I would say Crab. Um,
Mhm.
in against certain iterations of Crane, it's strong because a lot of them only have one character that can even block it, being most likely Kakita Yoshi
Mhm.
and Lion. I think it's strong against Lion too, depending on their splash.
I think the main point, however, is that when I play against Lion, I think, in my opinion, it's a good matchup for me because they do not have very strong defensive cards. So my attacks usually get through regardless because they're better off attacking rather than defending usually.
That's
I
fair.
speak about Lion, but also about Crane probably with their admit defeat and whatnot. So, I mean, sure, in a situation in which your opponent really wants to deny you a ring and they have the board to defend it massively, it's a strong card. However, I found in general I prefer a more dynamic gameplay that forces them to overcommit or sure you can defend, but then I want to attack, and so I will, I don't know, get the favor, nothing happens, but it's fine for me. I mean, if you had a bigger board, I can live with that. What I'm saying is that basically in those situations in which the magistrate is really powerful, I have usually other lines of play available. And there are situations in which the magistrate is not going to help me very much, and so I prefer other options on the overall situations.
Interesting. Yeah. What do you think about what do you think so you just said some things about your matchups overall. What do you think the what deck are you most afraid of and what deck are you most confident against?
Okay, of course,
Or
that
clan, not deck, because obviously everyone can have like a terrible deck.
yeah, of course. Yeah, Scorpion is of course the worst matchup for Phoenix. It has always been, I think. And now it's even worse because they have this A Fate Worse Than Death, which is a big threat. The problem with Scorpion was that I was playing the threats and they were playing the answers mostly. Now they
Mhm.
also have a very big threat, so I have to maybe try and save my cancels for their threat. And this means that my events might be cancelled, they won't get through, and it's all a mess because they have basically more options than me to heavily affect the conflict. So it's a
That
very
does sound
difficult
tough.
matchup.
All right, I'm back.
Oh,
Welcome
hello.
back.
Uh,
We were just discussing matchups, and he was saying that Scorpion's a tough one.
yeah, I think every Phoenix player has said that. Nick's wanted to know if you wanted to play your your next round match, Eugene.
Oh, when? Now?
Yeah, he's in the chat. He said ask him if he wants to play your game now. Smiley face. My body is ready.
Wow.
Oh, can I have a break, please?
Yeah, of course. No, obviously you don't
no
have
worries,
to.
dude, no worries.
Yeah, no worries. We can just we'll get it another time.
Yeah, that's better for me.
I know. I personally need to get some sleep pretty soon. So
Nick says no breaks.
Wow.
All right, so I'm gonna
well,
with that I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. So congratulations again for your victory,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
good luck in your next round against Nyx.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. See you guys.
Well done.
See you, man. Oh yeah, and congratulations on Hatamoto again. I never got to actually tell you in person.
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Great. Yeah.
All right, so hopefully we'll see you at Worlds, right? Kingsley and I are both qualified.
Yeah.
I would love to come. I would really love to come, but it's so expensive. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
the flight is
expensive.
definitely just like you're in what country are you from?
Italy.
Oh, okay. So the flight's probably like $1,000 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we're-
Yeah, pretty expensive.
that's pretty insane.
Yeah. And
gotta
then,
win,
of
gotta
course,
win a
you have all
Grand
the-
Cote and get free flight.
Yeah. Oh, Grand Coconut gets you a flight. Okay.
I think it does. I don't remember.
So just
Yes, it
go
does.
win. I think actually if you final, I think winning gets you a flight for a friend also. So I think you have to I think you have to make to the finals.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not too up on it.
All right, so Eugene, all you have to do is go to Paris and make the finals.
Yeah,
Or-
that's easy enough.
Or maybe
right?
Yeah.
win.
Yeah,
600
winning's cool too. Then
people.
you can bring a friend. Then you can bring bring Shooter over somebody.
Well, maybe I can opt for Shooter to win and bring me.
Yeah, there you go. See, that'd be a cool meetup. All right, well, again, congratulations, and have a nice rest of your night. I guess it's night there, right?
Thank you, guys. Bye. No, it's actually afternoon.
Oh yeah, you're +6, right? So it's what 5? No,
Yep,
2 o'clock.
Exactly. It's 3.
right.
3 o'clock, yeah.
3 o'clock.
All right,
Yep.
well, take care, everyone.
Take
Yeah.
care. Bye.